Welcome to Addicted to Recovery, the brand new podcast bringing you the truth about addiction. Our aim is to raise awareness about recovery and change the way society views the addict. My name's Christopher White. I'm joined by my dear friend, co-host and fellow recovering addict, Max Thomas. How are you today, brother?
Yeah, good, man. You?
Really good, mate. Great to be here.
Yeah, amazing.
Right, so between us, we have over 7 years of clean time. We work the 12-step with our sponsor and give freely of our time to help the still suffering addict. So why are we here, mate? What are we trying to do?
For me, I want to change the way people view addiction. I think if you ask the normal guy on the street what addiction is all about, he gives you a backward answer. He doesn't understand that people are real struggling out there and the why. Why are people taking these drugs? Why are people gambling? Why are people sex addicts? I just think the world has got a warped view on addiction. I think we're here to give people hope and strength that there is a way out of addiction. Look, I'm nearly 5 years clean, coming up in the new year.
Congratulations.
And cheers, man. And my journey is one where I thought that I was going around on this carousel of doom, do you know what I mean? Doing the same thing every single week and hurting a lot of people around me. And I didn't know what I was. And I think I'm here today. I don't want this podcast to be able to give people hope. Do you know what I mean? If we can leave a legacy in 75 years when we're good and gone, mate, do you know what I mean? That some guy or some girl is struggling with an addiction, whatever that will be, can find some hope in what we're saying and the guests that we bring on, and they can relate to our lives, and hopefully they can move forward with their lives.
Mate, I couldn't agree more. For me, even when I first came in, I had a warped view of what an addict was. I didn't want to admit the fact that I was an addict.
Yeah.
It was my whole identity. When I first came in, I was like, that's it, my life's over.
Yeah, badge of honour.
Yeah. And now, having been clean 3 years, getting an understanding about what this stuff is, what we suffer with, what the disease of addiction is, my view on the whole subject has completely changed.
Yeah, man.
And my life didn't end when I got clean. It began.
100%.
And like you said at the beginning, changed the view of the public's perception of what an addict is. I thought a junkie was someone who used needles intravenously. It was like a sex worker on the street that was selling their body for crack and heroin. That's what I thought an addict was.
Yeah.
And I was the biggest junkie you've ever met. And I've never used a needle in my life. So even my own personal opinion has changed and I'm living it. So out there, I think there's a huge misconception about what this stuff is, what the pain and suffering of a drug addict actually is. And not just a drug addict. Addiction goes across the board.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People are addicted to their phones at the minute.
Yeah, massively, man.
So I feel like if we can get together and have a chat honestly and bring up some awareness, get it out there to people. Like, we've been delving into this stuff for a while now. And we recently met up with someone and said, like, just go and have a look, see what happens. Imagine you're a struggling addict and you want to get help. Go and have a look.
Yeah.
See what's out there. And
shocking, wasn't it?
Yeah. He wasn't met with a pretty picture. It actually pissed him off.
Yeah. I remember.
And
shout out to Dan at Being Creative, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable guy and passionate about this, and he's hopefully going to join the team. So look, he was met with what he referred to. It was like he was on a highway agency's website.
Yeah, clinical. Yeah.
Very clinical. And
lots of blues, like a building society website. Basically.
Exactly.
You want to sign up for a new bank account.
Exactly. Not, oh my God, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And there's help out there. That's not what he was met with.
No.
And also the other thing that you get met with is rehabs trying to charge you a fortune for you to check into their facility.
Yeah, man.
And
money makers.
And I don't know about you, but when I was rock bottom, just before I got clean, I didn't have 10 grand to throw at a treatment center.
No, man.
So a lot of people are not in that situation. So basically what we're trying to do is welcome people into recovery with open arms. We want to create a warm place where people can come in and know that there's hope for the future.
100%, because I think online you type in, like, if you're in your moment of need where you've plucked up the courage to think, fuck this, I've had enough, right? I want to make a change. You go on the internet and you're met with, we've seen the images, it's like fucking scary images, like you've done something wrong. You're a criminal and you're going to pay for this, instead of what it should be is, there's a way out. Do you know what I mean? These guys have done it. This is what their lives are like now. If you implement a program in your life, you can change your life. Not this is the end of the road, fucking clinical, like we said. Yeah, it's time for change, man. Like in this
Couldn't agree more.
2023, this modern era now where people are opening up about how they feel and what's really going on for them, like now is the time for people to understand about addiction. And I think we're here to do that, aren't we?
We're passionate about it.
Yeah, mate.
I can tell by the way you're speaking.
Yeah.
We mean business.
Yeah.
Right? And not just that, we've got the lived experience, Max.
Mm.
It's very easy for someone outside of this little circle to point the finger and be judgy when it comes to addicts
Yeah.
and addiction in general,
Yeah.
because people view it as it's a choice, and that people are doing that because it's their choice. They're going to use the drugs. We know from personal experience, I was using against my own will
And me.
at the end.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do them things.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hurt the people around me. I hated taking drugs. I couldn't stop. I had a disease, incurable, but it can be arrested. And both of us, by getting vulnerable, holding our hands up and saying we can't do it alone, reaching out for help, we've managed to put that part of our lives behind us and move forward positively.
100%.
And it's available to everyone, but not everyone knows it's there.
And I think the plan is for this, look, my substance with cocaine and alcohol, and yours is similar, wasn't it? But I think this podcast is going to be for all addicts, do you know what I mean? Be it sex, gambling, whatever your poison, potion, powder is, it's about the disease of addiction. Do you know what I mean? This is a, we don't want to exclude anyone. If you're feeling a bit vulnerable and you want help, I think this podcast is for you, right? We want to try and bring guests on from all walks of life who have experienced recovery, because this is what, do you know what I mean? Me and Chris are in recovery. We want to show the way, basically. It's work for us, it can work for you. I think the hope thing for me is massive, because when I came into recovery, I had no hope whatsoever. And now my life is full of hope, do you know what I mean? I'm able to do stuff like this with you, mate. And like you said, I'm fucking passionate about this stuff. The disease of addiction, you've got the stat on it. I think it's one of the biggest killers, like since the world started writing stuff down. Do you know what I mean? It's like
The biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you count all the wars, etc.
Yeah, all the wars, combined diseases.
Yeah.
The disease of addiction, whether it be alcoholism or drug addiction, many different facets of this disease.
Which is mad.
It's a killer.
And even today, if you go to the doctors and say, I've got an addiction.
They'll throw pills at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
and
mad.
Look, that's a blanket statement. Not all doctors will do that. But the general public's view is someone's got a problem, especially when it comes to mental health.
Yeah.
Throw medicine at it.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say as it is, it's because they can make money off medicine.
Mm.
For example, take an opiate user. Someone's a heroin addict or any sort of opiate user, they go to the doctors, they put them on a methadone prescription,
Yeah.
which is another opiate. You're just covering it up with another layer of addiction, which actually, having spoke to people that get on the methadone program, is harder to give up than heroin.
Massively, yeah.
So it's just like, we know, because we've got the experience, that total abstinence and a 12-step recovery program is the only way.
Mm.
So let's raise awareness about it. Let's get people talking about it.
100%.
And another thing I think that we can do with this stuff, with this podcast and with this channel is bring in people from all different walks of life, not just addicts, but professionals, people that deal with that sort of stuff, that are counsellors, maybe doctors, people that are pharmacists that are giving out this stuff, and just sort of come at it from every angle so we can paint the whole picture.
Yeah, man.
And I don't think anyone's doing that.
No.
There's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of blaming, and I think we can get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, we want to be real, right? There's a lot of bullshit out there, and there's a lot of people trying to make a bit of cash, and like I think we know that being honesty is one of our spiritual principles in our fellowship.
Probably the one.
It's massive. Do you know what I mean? Honesty is massive, and I wasn't honest for a long, long time. Do you know what I mean? Genuinely honest. And I can say since I've come into recovery, do you know what I mean? I live an honest life today, and I think the beauty in being honest is it allows other people to open up. Do you know what I mean? If you're holding stuff back and you're cagey, people copy that sort of behaviour. I think if you're honest and get vulnerable, do you know what I mean? I've cried lots of times in meetings, so have you, mate. Do you know what I mean? But there's so much freedom in that honesty. Do you know what I mean? That's the beauty about this program. We are able to wipe the slate clean, I suppose. Through
of course, if you come in guarded, that's what you get back.
Yeah.
This is all about getting vulnerable, opening up, being honest, and you give that energy off, and that's what you receive. So tell me a little bit about yourself, mate. Tell us about your story.
Story-wise, yeah. I'll keep it brief, really. So again, I'm sharing this because I want to say that addiction doesn't give a damn where you come from, like your family upbringing. Like I hear a lot of trauma in the rooms, and people were brought up in really bad circumstances, and they've become addicts. For me, I was born this way. I was born an addict. It's nothing about my upbringing. I had a beautiful, and still have a beautiful family. Mum and dad were amazing, still together now. I think 45 years they've been married. I'm one of 4 kids, so we went on family holidays, private school when I was young, and no complaints whatsoever. Really lovely, close-knit family. I was still very close. I talk to my siblings daily still. I'm one of those sort of guys. And from a very early age, this is what I mean, like people on the street do not understand this side of addiction. Like from a very early age, I didn't feel part of. I didn't feel right. I felt a little bit different. I was very much an attention seeker as a kid. Bit wacky, massive highs, like not so many lows when I was a child, but real hyper highs. Do you know what I mean? And trying to get that attention. 1 of 4 maybe, that might have been it. And but I can remember going to school, senior school. Didn't really know many people there. Failed my 11 plus when I was young. Went to a senior school. Didn't really know many people there. So immediately I was trying to just be that chameleon, do you know what I mean? Bounce from one group to the next.
Mask on.
I try and be a little bit naughty, but I weren't really naughty, do you know what I mean? I was quite cleverish lad, didn't really ever feel my potential. I was pretty good at sports. So I used to hover around each group, but then not really have that one friend pool, which knew me intimately, if you know what I mean. And it was, I mean, I sort of lived my life like that, I didn't really feel part of, didn't really know what sort of clothes I liked, or even like stupid stuff, what music I liked, and it was just a bit, life from an early age just puzzled me. Do you know what I mean? I was, and it still does today. 5 years clean, I can wake up on a Monday morning and I'm scared. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Scared to walk in the office that I've been in for 13 years, and I know the guys in there, like they're my brothers, and I can still feel that alien in my own house, or just a bit off key. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So when I found drink and drugs, it stopped all that. It quieted that head down. It
freed you up.
It freed me up. It narrowed my vision. Do you know what I mean? And gave me the confidence to do stuff that I didn't do when I wasn't using. Do you know what I mean? I was able to talk to the girls when I was younger. I was able to dance on speakers, and just made me a different person. It made me a person I thought I wanted to be, but in reality, it was bringing me away from my true self. Do you know what I mean? And so my using started off fun. It like yours did, mate. Do you know what I mean? I had some wicked times with my mates, and parties and lads' holidays, and some real good times. But the difference with me, and I found out pretty quickly, was you put one drug in me, and I don't ever want the party to stop. Yeah. Right? I was Mad Max.
Last man standing.
Party boy.
Mad Max.
Great fun. I remember walking into a bar once, and I was with my mum and dad, and the barman went, Mad Max. And I was like, fucking hell, drop me out. Do you know what I mean? Today. I was like, no, not today, mate. But I suppose I used to wear it as a bit of a badge of honour, and a lot of the time I'd use cocaine so I could party a bit longer. It used to level me out, do you know what I mean? And I could drink and use. Exactly. And it was all right at the time. It made me this Jack the Lad, I suppose, and people like going out with me. But you got to grow up sometime, haven't you? And I met my beautiful wife, I'm still with today, luckily. And people around me, my friends and my peers, started to settle down and slow down a bit. And I didn't really understand it. I was like, no, I'm just getting going, really. And I suppose my using was progressing. It's a progressive illness, and my using was progressing. And I got married. I married this beautiful girl. We had a lovely wedding. And I openly admitted to her I wasn't really that present on my wedding day. It makes me quite upset about it. Because it was that day that she dreamt of and I've dreamt of. And do you know what I mean? I don't think I wasn't using, I was drinking heavily on my wedding day, and I just wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? Only an addict can understand that. But now when I have my kids' birthdays and I'm clean, I'm there. I haven't experienced. When I'm walking through the park now and I'm clean, I can hear the leaves and do you know what I mean, the
Not
trees.
just there, but you're present.
Yeah, mate. There's a big difference. And so huge regrets about that. We just celebrated 10 years marriage, and we took the kids up to Scotland where I proposed to her, and it was beautiful, really lovely. Sort of made an amends a little bit around the wedding situation. But yeah, cut a long story short, my using progressed. My little baby boy, my wife fell pregnant. Sorry, and my little boy was born premature, and again, I wasn't really in the room. I remember, like, even when my wife was pregnant, I remember being out at some sort of do, and yeah, it was raining and like a cold evening, and my little boy was born in November, so it must have been like September time, and I remember like the cabbie dropped us off at the flat, and my head, I'd already had a few beers by now. This is what I'm talking. This is just to show you the power of this illness, I suppose. And once I've had a drink, I don't want to do anything else apart from do that. Yeah, she went to get out of the taxi, and I remember her face. She looked back, and I was still sat in the taxi, and I was like, "I'm staying out." Do you know what I mean? And it was pissing down with rain. She had a big bump on her, and I was off. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what time I got in that night, but it was not
It's a selfish disease.
not acceptable behaviour, man. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, little boy was born premature. My wife was poorly. He was poorly, and I wasn't really there. I wasn't really there for him, and I'll forever regret that. Baby number 2 turned up, little beautiful girl, and again, behaviours was just by this point getting worse and worse and worse. I was a binge user, Chris. You know this, but what I mean by that was I was never a daily user. But it's a progressive illness. If I'd have stayed on another 5 years, who knows where I've got to. Yeah. But my go-to would be like, I'll pop out for a few beers and come back 24 hours later. Do you know what I mean? That was mine. And it's just...
Maybe.
Yeah, unacceptable behaviour. Always losing your wallet, getting in yourself into stupid scenarios, been in hospital a few times. Yeah, the glory days were well gone by this point. Do you know what I mean? The fun was gone. And promising my missus, I'm not going to do it tonight in the shower. I'll be saying, no, tonight's different. I'm going to have a few beers, have a kebab and go home.
Yeah, but we truly believe that.
Yeah, no, I do. Genuinely believe it. And then Groundhog Day, I'm there, 5 a.m, knocking on the front door. She's saying, why are you doing this? And my answer to her was, I don't know why I'm doing it. And wasn't good enough at the time. Do you know what I mean? She was just like, no.
That's the truth.
Yeah, it was the truth. And I look back now, that was the truth. I didn't know why I kept hurting these people that I adored. And I think it happened one last time, and she said, you're out. Do you know what I mean? And it was the best thing she'd ever done, really. Because before that, she would just let me off and we wouldn't speak, and I'd make it up, and it would just be, like I said, Groundhog Day over and over again, just continuing on this carousel of just what the definition of insanity is: repeating the same behaviours, expecting different results. And I was just insane, I suppose. And yeah, so she kicked me out, and do you know what I mean, I was out for maybe a couple of months. I can't remember now. And I went around my brother's house, and he said, right, you need to get yourself to a meeting. And that's when my journey began. And since that first meeting, I've not picked up a drink, and that would be drink or drug, and that would be 5 years in March, mate.
Nice.
Yeah, mate. Awesome stuff. Obviously, there's a load of stuff that I've done since coming into recovery, like getting service at meetings and getting an amazing sponsor. I've had a couple of sponsors, but an initial amazing sponsor, working through the 12 steps, which have been amazing, clearing all that rubbish out, making an amends to people. Now I've got a couple of sponsees that I look after myself, and because I'm trying to pass on what was freely given to me to these guys, because that's how
the aim of the game.
That's how recovery works, doesn't it? That we have to pass on this knowledge that we get to help that next person. I suppose that's what we're trying to do a little bit with this podcast, isn't it? So,
well, look, man, that was fantastic. Thanks for opening up and sharing that. I appreciate it. Our stories are so similar.
Yeah, mate.
I think that's part of the reason why we get on so well.
Yeah.
And we identify so well with each other. It's basically my story. My childhood was very similar. Mum and dad are still together. There was a lot of love in the house. Never wanted for anything. But like you, I just felt different. And I could never put my finger on it. I didn't know what it was. I now know I had the disease of addiction. And like you, I believe I was born with it. If you look at my behaviour from when I was a child, long before I picked up a substance, there was like obsession
Off key, yeah.
from early on. no matter what it was, I would just get so one-track minded, focused, fixated on that one thing until I got it or wanted to play it. And as soon as I got good or half good at it,
Done.
Put it down, next thing. And that is me to a T. Yeah. And that's the disease of addiction for me. So, yeah, look, very similar to you. I mean, look, I always had a real easy time making friends and like a bit of a social butterfly. And I never really opened up and showed people who I truly was. I wore a lot of masks. I would become one person to you. I'll become another person to someone else. And I was really good at it. And to be honest, it was a tool. It was a skill that I used to hide that anxiety and that fear that I felt.
I remember you saying you'd hate the fact if three guys that you hadn't seen for ages came in the pub, you were shitting yourself that they'd all speak to each other and find out a different
version of it. Yeah. And I found out in treatment that that's called a lack of integrity.
Right, yeah.
And that was one thing that I strived for when I got clean. It was like, what do you want? I was like, I want to be honest and I want to have integrity. And so look, just to go back a little bit further, as soon as I picked up a drug, so bearing in mind, I had these nervous tics. I had these facial tics when I was younger. And my parents were really worried. I was really worried. And the day I picked up drugs, they all went away. So it was like, drugs were like a little safety blanket for me. A lot of people think I had a drug problem. The drugs were the medicine for me. And it worked. And I had some clear, obvious symptoms like that. I was twitchy and I used to do this weird stuff with my lips and my neck. Like, and literally to the day when I started using drugs, it all went away. Man. So they done for me something that was worth letting, at the time, was worth letting what they did to me happen because they'd done so much for me. It was like a safety blanket and it really worked for a long time. Like you, it progressed. It went from them party days where I was life and soul of the party, loads of holidays, you know what I mean? Yeah. Loads of girls, fun with the lads. Yeah. And just like you, I noticed pretty early on that I was using a little bit different to everybody else. I was staying up a little bit longer and people were saying like, oh, I've had too much. And I always thought there was a liberty because if you can say it, it's probably not true. You know what I mean? It's like, I would take it to the next level every time. Yeah. And consequences started happening pretty early on. Same with you. I like to say in the beginning it was fun. Then it became fun with consequences. And by the end of it, there was no fun and it was all consequences. And just like you, I had a kid, I had a missus, I had a family that loved me. And I would step over all of them to go and use. And this is not something I'm proud of, something I got a lot of shame and guilt around. Like you said, steps 8 and 9, we get to make amends for our behaviour. Yeah. And I've done that, thank God. But eventually I'd had enough. I didn't know what to do. Luckily, just like you or your brother, he knew where to go. I had a friend whose mum was in recovery and shout out Rachel, such a good girl. Yeah. Got me to my first meeting. And I said, what do I do? And she said, you come to a meeting. And I went to a meeting. Did I stay clean from that first meeting? No, I didn't. Relapse is a big part of my story. We'll obviously get into that later on. But the seed was planted. And since then, I've been on a long journey of in and out, getting clean, relapsing, getting clean, relapsing. Thank God this time around, very similar situation to you. I used to get kicked out of my house with my missus and my son. And I used to go to my mum and dad's. They'd let me in. And one day I showed up.
Enabling you.
They didn't know they were enabling me. They thought they were loving me when really they was enabling me to keep using. And one day I walked up to their house and I was like, you ain't coming in here. And like you said, it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
It's that penny drops, isn't it?
Yeah. Give me the kick up the arse that I needed. And I started taking this stuff seriously. Yeah. And pretty much from that moment, I started taking it seriously. Done what was suggested.
Isn't it amazing that we think that drugs give us everything that we want, but then they take everything that we love. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That is it in a nutshell for me.
Great quote. When you get clean, all you got to do is give up one thing and you can have everything.
Yeah, mate.
Or you can have one thing and give up everything.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I did.
I know what you mean though.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, mate, exactly similar to you. I came in, I started taking this stuff seriously. I've been through the 12 steps.
How was treatment?
Treatment for me, was necessary.
Where was that? Southend?
Southend, yeah, the Lighthouse, great treatment centre.
Awesome.
Once again, my parents bailing me out.
Yeah.
They pay for me to go to treatment. A lot of people don't get that option. I don't know
How long
why
were you in
they
there
pay
for?
me. I was in there for 28 days. So I made the call. I had to wait about a week for a bed, which is pretty standard. I had to wait about a week for a bed. Had like a phone call, one of the guys who worked there, little introduction to myself, told him about what drugs I was on, etc. Because I had to sort out a detox if you were on a drug that needed detoxing, alcohol, opiates, etc.
Yeah.
I wasn't, because I was a cocaine user. Yeah, basically got there and something felt different. I pretty much knew that I was done. And this is a big part of addiction. If you're not ready to stop, it's very difficult to stop.
Yeah, man.
Previously, I tried doing it for other people. I tried doing it because I knew that what I was doing was wrong, but I wasn't ready.
They call it the gift of desperation, don't
That's
we?
it.
Which is a beautiful saying, and it sounds sick, but
Yeah, it really is.
I honestly, and I share about it quite a bit, that I'm fucking grateful that I had my rock bottom.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that my wife booted me out, because I truly believe, like, if my family had done like a mini little intervention a couple of weeks before, like, I might not be sitting here today, man. Do you know what I mean? I might have been still going back on that road of just that dark place. And yeah, I needed that gift of fuck. But there's nowhere else to go. Do you know what I mean? Rabbit in the headlights.
End of the
job.
road.
Yeah.
End of the road.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where I was. So as soon as I got to treatment, I just sort of was like, right, I'm here. I don't want to go back to that life. Let's make a good go of this. And I did. For me, towards the end of my addiction, you couldn't tell me anything. You couldn't tell me anything. My default answer to pretty much everything was, yeah, I know.
Yeah, man.
And turns out I really didn't know anything. So what I did was I shut up. I started listening. And I'd done what was told. Basically, we say in recovery, the suggested thing. Because an addict's not going to do what you tell him to do. So people make suggestions. We know now.
The definition
Basically,
of
shut up and do it.
The definition is a subtle command.
Subtle command.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, do it, mate. You know what I mean? We know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I started listening. I started doing what they said. I started getting some assignments. So it wasn't 12-step based, this specific recovery centre, specific treatment centre. It was a lot of CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, DBT, dialectical behavioural therapy. It was working one-on-one with counsellors. It was just structure. So my life had no structure. So it was like, wake up 7:30. We all had a specific chore. For me, my first chores were I clean the kitchen,
Nice.
wipe the sides, mop the floor, put the cleaning equipment away. Then we'd done a 15-minute meditation,
Yeah.
shower. Everyone had to have a shower. It wasn't like optional. Personal hygiene. Not that my personal hygiene wasn't great, but a lot of people struggle with that stuff when they come in. And
Structure's key, though, mate. Honestly, even
structure, routine.
even today, mate. Like, if I ain't got structure around eating, for example, I'm just binging on food, and like, at the moment, I'm going through Mr. Structure, no sugar, like proper addict style, like no smoking, all in. And at the moment, I'm not eating shit food. I'm not eating sugar. But I need that. Otherwise, but I have to get in enough pain and look in my mirror. I'm going to try clothes on, and they ain't fitting, and I feel like shit. I have to get rock bottom, I suppose, to actually change it and put a bit of structure in. Around the gym, I'll get obsessed with the gym, and then I injure myself, and then I have to. It's just my whole life. If I ain't got structure, it basically falls apart.
Exactly that. Discipline, structure. So for me, I'm exactly the same. I struggle with food. It was the first manifestation of this disease when I was a kid. I was a little fat kid. I hated it, hated being fat, couldn't stop eating, right? For me now, if I'm trying to get in shape, I need structure.
Yeah.
I've recently been working with a nutritionist and a personal trainer
Getting hench.
who says, eat this at that time, every day, train at this time, train this muscle group, do these exercises. Because if I haven't got that guidance, I'll be like, oh, I can have one McDonald's.
That's why a lot of addicts end up in jail, mate, because the routine is there.
Exactly.
And they reoffend to actually get back in.
Exactly. It's an easier way for them.
Yeah, because life on the outside, they're just completely clueless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how my life was. No routine. I didn't wake up at the same time every day. So treatment, for me, you don't need to go to treatment to get clean.
No.
You're an example. Yeah. You went straight to the rooms. For me, I was a daily user.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's any worse than what you were.
No.
Or any more serious. But I needed to change everything. And treatment gave me that opportunity. I got to take a month off from everything and just focus on my recovery. Someone said to me early on, anything you put before your recovery, you're going to lose it anyway. So put your recovery first. And I really heard that. So yeah, bit of routine, working with a counsellor. They gave me some...
You were serious about it when you
deadly serious.
Because I remember when you bounced into the rooms like a couple of years before.
Yeah.
I remember it so vividly, actually. I think
bravado.
Your mum was there at the time. There was I'm surprised you got through the door. The ego was that big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
on my knees, by the way. I think bouncing in the room like I owned it.
I think you said you might have been using in the meeting.
I was using in the meeting.
Yeah. And then I saw you 2 years later as you came out of rehab, and I was like, "Fuck, is this the same geezer?"
Different guy.
Yeah, just honest and genuine, and that bullshit had gone. That mask was off.
Yep.
I mean, people. I don't know. I used to walk about just thinking I was the absolute bollocks for so long. Do you know what I mean? It was nonsense. There was a scared little kid in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, full of judgment as well.
Oh, massive.
Full of judgment.
Yeah.
I was a nightmare. I'll be laying in the gutter looking down at people.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I ain't saying I'm perfect today, right? Like on my bad days, I can have some serious.
Exactly. And not even, look, for me, it's not even bad days. I'll have bad moments in good days.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But because we've been through this stuff, we've done a bit of work around ourselves.
Awareness.
We can learn to pause and respond rather than react. Or if we do react, we can come with open arms and apologise.
Yeah.
Promptly admit when we're wrong. And that's a set of tools that I didn't have. I would brood for days on end.
Fester.
Resentment just oozing out of me. And I don't have to do that today. Great little saying that I love, and it's basically, I love instant gratification. That's why cocaine was my drug.
Yeah.
It gives you what you need now. And the program, the meetings, the steps, does for me slowly what a line of cocaine done for me really quickly.
Yeah, nice.
So if I don't replace my substances with something else, I mean, there's a great saying in one of the other fellowships, start craving sober. So if I don't replace it with anything, my disease actually gets worse.
Yeah, massively, yeah.
So I need that structure. I need that program. I need to work it on a daily basis. And so far, so good.
Well, if we stop taking any medicine, if you've got a disease of anything, do you know what I mean? You stop taking your medicine, well, you get sick, right?
Of course you do.
So if we stop for a long, long time, drugs and booze was my medicine. It was my medicine to life. So I've stopped taking drugs and booze. Without that, I'm absolutely mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go to recovery to learn how to live a life. That's what I do. I've replaced drink and drugs with recovery. I mean, if I've got an issue at work, I don't let it fester for 2 weeks, then go and blast myself to oblivion on a Friday night in the booze.
Yeah, you work a
I'll
program.
ring my sponsor. I'll ring you and say, this has just happened. How do I react? We do gratitude lists in the morning. What I do is suggested that you do 10 things that you're grateful for, because I can be an ungrateful bastard a lot of the time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Basic stuff. Do you know what I mean? A warm house, a hot shower, like real basic level stuff sometimes, or I've had a beautiful weekend with the kids, etc., etc. We're given these tools to be able to live life. We won't go into massive detail about higher power stuff, but it's another major tool for me is a God of my understanding, my higher power, not a religious God, but I tap into that on a daily basis. Prayer is a massive part of my program. And I'm not praying that I win the lottery or there's a red Ferrari sitting on the drive. I'm praying for normally other people, people that may have even harmed me the day before. Do you know what I mean? I hope he has a good day today.
Yeah.
That's fucking...
And look, that's the way to get out of resentment.
Yeah. But compared to where I was 5 years ago, it's
night and day.
Madness, mate.
Night and day.
It's madness.
It's a beautiful journey.
Yeah. So treatment, 30 days, tough 30 days,
28
right?
days.
Yeah. They say your first 30's tough. Mine was tough.
Look, the first 30 was tough. For me, it was, my senses got really heightened because I wasn't on anything to numb me anymore. And I realised for the first time the sort of wake of destruction I had left behind me.
Yeah.
My son was 2. My missus was at home with our son. I destroyed my family, my extended family, my friends. I just basically...
No trust.
Zero trust. And rightly so, they thought I was going to use again.
Right.
Because all the evidence pointed to that I was going to use again, because that's what I always did. I got clean. The most amount of clean time I had was 100 days. And that was when I met you first time, around that time anyway. And I picked up because that's what drug addicts do. You know what I mean?
Without a program, yeah.
Drug addicts who are not working a program eventually pick up again. It's almost 100%. It's like pretty much if you can not have a program and don't pick up, there's a chance you weren't an addict in the first place.
I don't like people relapsing, but when people come back into the rooms and they've relapsed and they've not been working a program, I say, well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It ain't a shock to me.
I remember when I first come around, it'd be like, oh my God, he relapsed. And people would be like, well, yeah, of course he did.
Yeah.
It was always going to happen.
If you ain't got, if you try, do you know what I mean? The stats say, and the experience says that if you ain't working a program, you're fucked basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. There ain't no, the lucky ones might be able to cling on for dear life.
Yeah, for a little while, white knuckle it for a while, but it's not, there's no longevity in that.
There's no life though, is there? I'm searching for that peace of mind. Do you know what I mean? That's why I do my program now.
Yeah.
Try and get those glimpses of peace of mind.
And not just my peace of mind, the peace of mind of everyone around me.
Yeah.
My parents trust me today.
Yeah.
My missus trusts me. If I tell her I'm going somewhere, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. For me as well, there's just so many little simple things. There's a lot of big, obvious, glaring like, wow, that's a big thing. But it's the small things for me as well. I wake up 5 minutes before my alarm goes off.
Yeah, nice.
It's like built into me now.
I struggle with that, but yeah.
I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
For me, like my whole life, even before I picked up a drug, I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. I would always be late, always rushing around, constantly on the move. Today I can sit still in a chair.
I just feel I'm just so much more present, man. I remember, this is going to sound sick, but I remember when I was at my height of using, fully gripped by this illness, like reading my little boy a book, be a fucking chore. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I'd be looking,
getting
pissed off that he's not falling asleep in time.
Yeah,
sounds sick. It's the best part of my day. Do you know what I mean? I love it. I love playing with my kids, hide and seek, laughing, joking. Do you know what I mean? Just acting the fool. Like, and addiction just took that away from me, really. Yeah. Like, it just wanted me. It wanted me out. It wanted me standing
away from you, but it took you away from them.
Of course, yeah, massively.
It's a family illness.
Yeah,
it really is. It just has such a big knock-on effect to everyone around us, and what a beautiful place to be, not having doing that. And I mean, I think it's almost better for us having been to that dark place and coming out the other side, because we know about the pain. For someone who's never experienced it, it's almost like when we get to experience that good stuff after, it's like we appreciate it more.
100%, yeah.
Because we've gone from the darkness, we've come from the darkness, and now we're back in the light. And
that's why the name of the podcast, right? Going from addiction into recovery. It's a beautiful. It's graft. Don't get me wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's an action program. You can't just sit on your ass and do fuck all. It don't work like that. You need to put it in, apply yourself to the program. And they say you get a life beyond your wildest dreams. That is not owning a private island in the middle of the Caribbean. Yeah. That is
peace of mind.
Peace of mind, man.
Serenity.
Yeah, it's just, I've got a great group of friends that I trust and can rely on and have got my back. If I don't turn up for meetings, they're saying, where are you? Do you know what I mean? It's a community that we've got, and it's a beautiful thing. And the sad thing is, there's millions of people, probably in the UK and across the world, who, one, don't know they're addicts, and two, think they might have a problem but don't know there's a solution.
Don't know where to go.
No, they don't know where the solution is.
That's true. And of the ones that come, most don't stay.
Yeah. What's the stats? Less than 1%, I think.
Less than 1%.
Yeah.
the odds are not in our favour at all. And let's change that. There's no need for it.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And I'm not knocking any fellowships at all because they've changed my life. They saved my life. But also, I think it's a responsibility for the addict who has got some clean time and has found recovery to do what we're doing, giving it away, giving freely of our time, being of service.
Yeah.
And
I just want to change society's view, man. Like,
yeah,
you've seen these footballers in the news recently that have clearly got gambling problems. Like, if a footballer's putting on a couple of bets a month, right, against his own team, like, then that's not on, right? They should be reprimanded. He's not an addict. But I'm not going to name names. A couple of them, you put in like thousands of bets on a month.
Yeah.
Clearly that person has got an issue.
Yeah.
Merson went into it on Soccer Saturday. I don't know if you saw it recently. He was talking about it's a fucking illness. And what if society has just criminalised them completely? They're not allowed to train with their teams, I don't think. They're not allowed to speak to their teams. 9 months one of them got.
Yeah.
Like, we know the worst thing you could do to an addict is isolate them.
Of course.
And they've isolated this, but I don't know if they're getting help behind the scenes. But and then you've got someone else like Dele Alli comes out, quite rightly. He's suffering with addiction, coke, whatever it was, drugs and alcohol. And society wraps their arms around him. Like,
pigeonholed one guy.
It's the same illness.
Yeah.
It's the same illness.
It's the same thing.
It's
different manifestation.
The gambling guys, they're struggling with life just as much as the guys with the alcohol and drug issues. I mean, it's the same illness, but one's using gambling and one is using drugs. I want society to understand, because I don't think it understands it, mate. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't understand it. It doesn't understand it. We need to be looking at this as an illness. It's an illness that, treated in the correct way, can get these people back on the right path. Do you know what I mean?
It can't be fully cured, but it can be arrested. You can live a life, and we're living examples of that.
Exactly, man.
I was dying.
Yeah,
I was
saw
dying.
the photos, man.
Yeah. So I recently turned 3 years. I put a little post on Instagram of what it was like. Bearing in mind, that's just a visual representation. I was 4 stone underweight. I was dying. I was
How tall were you?
dying. 6'4".
And you were what?
11 stone.
Wowzers.
And I'm like 15 and a half now, comfortable. I've been hitting the gym.
Thinking you probably looked pretty ripped on. Thinking you probably looked
I
ripped.
thought I looked great. Where I was a fat kid, I was looking down like, are they abs? I was loving it. I look back at photos. I mean, you made the comparison. I look like Gollum off Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
and my precious. Cocaine was my precious. So
deluded though, right? Just
completely deluded.
Yeah.
Completely deluded.
I say when I share in meetings, like, that's proper when your addiction has got you in shackles, right? In chains. Yeah. And it's just got you.
I'll have a shave,
Lucky to get out, really.
Shave, a haircut, new pair of trainers, and I think I look the bollocks. Yeah. When really, I just look like Gollum with a haircut.
28 trousers.
Yeah. This is it. I was wearing like medium. I'm in an extra large now, comfortable, and I was in mediums. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But look, what I'm trying to say is, that's just the external, the physical, what I look like. When I think back to them times, what was going on mentally and internally, it was just such a dark, painful place.
Yeah, rotting from the inside out. Yeah,
rotting from the inside out, trying to put things in me to try and change the way I feel on the inside. Yeah. And since getting clean and going through this work, I don't need to put anything in me to change the way I feel. It's an inside job.
Yeah.
And I look better on the outside, but I also feel so much better on the inside. And that's the most important bit for me. Yeah, it's nice to
it's an internal job. We need to fix inside before, and the outside follows, really, doesn't it?
It pretty much takes care of itself. Yeah. It's exactly that. Like I was saying, when I was in treatment, I had to be a little bit selfish to be away from my family to fix me, put my recovery first. Basically, what people said was, don't try and fix that. Build them bridges. Just do what you're doing. Focus on your recovery, and all that will fix itself. My best thinking got me into rehab. So I stopped trying to run the show. Yeah. Working with my sponsor the other day, and he said about, this is a process of subtraction. We're not actually adding anything.
No.
What we're doing is removing enough things so that we're not running on self-will anymore.
Yeah, nice.
And that we can live a good life. It's almost like when we were in addiction, we were trying to add and add and
course,
add.
yeah.
Once we get clean, we just peel back layers until we're our like pure selves. And I thought that was really nice.
Nice, man. No, that is
Good way of looking at it, right?
Yeah, 100%. I know you spoke about you in rehab, and I went through the rooms, and
How was it?
yeah, it was suggested to me, a subtle command, as you said, to do 90 meetings in 90 days.
Of course.
Right? You hear that a lot
I did the same when I
in the
got out.
fellowship. And what that means is what it says on the tin, I suppose. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, I've got a job up in London and I'm a big city boy and all
It
this
seems
sort of
like a
stuff.
lot,
And
yeah.
I can't do that. And how much do you want it, right? This is what my first sponsor said to me. Lovely bloke, shout out Kent.
Kent was your first sponsor.
Yeah.
What a legend.
Absolute ledge. We'll try and get him on.
Yeah,
He's got an amazing story.
Yeah.
He said, how much do you want it? And I was like, well, I ain't got many other options, mate. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, 90 meetings in 90 days. And the beauty is, I was fully in denial. Didn't think I was an addict for. I just had a bit of a, do you know what I mean, party boy, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it just allowed me to eventually hear my story. It was, and it gave me hope. I'm not saying after day 2, day 3, meeting 4 or 5, but slowly but surely, I started to hear my story. And he's 6 months clean. She's 18 months clean. He's 10 years clean. He's got his kids back in his life. He's back with his wife again. He did marriage counselling. And I started to, over those 90 meetings, those 3 months, I started to believe in this program. Do you know what I mean? It said,
You're watching it happen in front of you.
exactly. And it was a beautiful process. I share it quite a bit now, that I think it was probably the most important thing I've done in my recovery, because it gave me that foundation of recovery to actually think, fucking hell, there's something in this. Do you know what I mean? And by that point, the wanting to use had lifted from me. The magic,
obsession.
the obsession had magically gone. Do you know what I mean? But then I started to realise there's so much more to it. Do you know what I mean?
But it wasn't magic.
No.
You put the effort in.
Yeah.
You became willing. You went to 90 meetings in 90 days. That's why the obsession came off you, because it's the how of the program, right? Honesty, open-mindedness, willingness.
And instead of doing it my way, Chrissy, I was following out someone else's way for the first time in a long time.
Process of subtraction.
Yeah.
You were doing it.
Yeah.
The people that come in, like yourself, and do it,
Yeah.
you can see it.
Yeah.
You can watch it happen. So I done a share for my 3 years on Monday, and people were saying, there was like, you came in, you got your head down, and you did it, and it shows. And it's like, someone said, and I really like this, there was like, you don't get 3 years by accident.
No.
Just like you don't get nearly 5 years by accident. You come in, you put the work in, dedication, daily. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. Great line in the book. We didn't become addicted overnight.
No.
It takes a long time to get to rock bottom. So it takes a long time to become serene on the other end of it. Not as long, which is probably a bonus. Like you said, 90 meetings in 90 days, you start feeling good.
Yep.
For me, it's a lifelong thing.
Yep.
Obviously, I've toned it down. I'm not still doing a meeting every night, but I'll do something for my recovery every day.
Yeah, nice, man.
Do you do the same?
100%. And I think I came into recovery to stop using drink and drugs, right? But 5 years in, that's just the little bonus.
Yeah.
Like, what the other gifts that I've been given, and my life is so full now that the drink and stop using, that's just like a little bonus on the end.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, that's
Things
what
a million miles away, right?
It does, and that's what they mean about life beyond your wildest dreams. That I come to recovery now to keep being a better person. That's it. And there's so much more for me to learn and grow. Like service, they talk about service. Service means that we have someone who makes teas and coffees. You have a secretary who takes the meeting. You have a treasurer. You have a newcomer rep who greets the newcomer at the start. And when I first came in, I thought, I don't fucking need that. Do you know what I mean? I've been talking to people all day on the phone, all that sort of stuff. I was completely missing the point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Each of those things, which I now know, have taught me something that I can take out into this big, scary, wide world, like honesty, consistency, humility, commitment, putting other people first, making teas and coffees. like you can't be an egotistical wanker making teas and coffees, right?
For 30 addicts.
Yeah, who are fussy fuckers making the tea and coffee. It's it brings you down a few pegs. All these little tools and all these little gifts, I suppose, that you don't even know happening to you at the time. That's the beauty about it. You don't even.
It's very subtle.
You don't know. You don't think tonight I'm going to learn how to be humble. Do you know what I mean? That's the beauty of the program.
I personally think the tea and coffee commitment is the most important commitment.
It is. It's the most
At any
ag
meeting.
though.
I loved it.
Did you?
At the Monday night at Basildon, I loved that commitment.
Yeah.
I took it so seriously. I'd remember what everyone wanted. You know what it was for me? Someone might come through that door in their first meeting.
Yeah.
Someone would say, "Can I get you a cup of tea?"
It's all about
we'll
the
give you a
welcome.
hot drink. I would say, "I haven't seen you before. What's your name?"
Yeah.
Then when they come back the week later, I'd remember their name and I'd remember what they had. And I'd go, "Tea, 2 sugars. Nice to see you.
That's what it's all
So
about.
so and so." And they feel welcome.
And the amount of people, Chris, that share when they pluck up the courage to share and say, "I couldn't believe it. I came back in week 2 and the team maker remembered my name."
Exactly.
Like, wow.
It can save someone's life.
Yeah.
And look, you say that you keep coming because you want to keep learning and growing.
Yeah.
Another bonus for me by keep coming back is you see the newcomer
Oh, mate.
start thriving.
Yeah.
You see the light come back on in people's eyes.
Sparkly eyes.
And they start picking up chips and they start taking people through the work themselves. And that's the biggest buzz for me.
Yeah, that is.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because I've got a couple of people in mind that were nuts when they walked through that door. And they're all calm and
mad.
reliable.
Yep.
And that, for me, when you see the newcomer coming like that, that's a reminder of where I was. And if I don't do what I need to do on a daily basis, that's where I'll end up. And I don't want to go there.
This is what I mean. It ain't about getting clean. That, like I said, it's a bonus. Like when these people, like these websites, these clinical websites we mentioned at the start, this is the issue. Like it doesn't say all the things we just said. Like you can have X, Y, and Z and friends and learn how to be honest and consistent and turn up. Like this is what we're trying to change, right?
Yeah.
This is it in a nutshell. It's we need to. There's hope out there. There's a life. Life is fucking precious. What do we get? 75, 80 years of good life.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. It's precious. And it's it means a lot to me, man. Do you know what I mean?
It means a lot to me as well.
Yeah.
And look, we're some of the lucky ones. We come in at a reasonably young age. We've still got a lot of living to do and a lot of time to be of service to others. And I've dedicated a portion of my life to giving back. And I think this is a great way to do it. So I really appreciate you coming on this journey with me, mate. And let's give this a good go, right?
Yeah, man, 100%.
Brilliant stuff. Well, look, I think that wraps up our first episode. It's been great hearing your story again. Thanks for coming in, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, mate.
Play it.